Hi, welcome back to the channel. It is week 17, and for me, it's the next simulation.
You're going in! 3, 2, 1, go!
So I'm holding my phone and I'm sorry if it's shaky. Just finished 7 miles on the tread. I was very interested to see getting upwards of these balloon lady type interval, not super intense, on the treadmill where it's flat, if my knee would start hurting, and it didn't. I thought at one point I kind of started to be aware of it, but then even that went away. So that gives me hope that when I go down to a place like Florida where it is mostly flat, that I'll be able to go farther than I can up here, even running, without my knee bothering me so much. And I'm sure it's still gonna hurt, like when I go to Wine and Dine next week, but I was encouraged by the fact that I was able to do 7 miles and that my knee didn't bother me. Speaking of that, had an ortho appointment yesterday and we got scheduled for an MRI, but unfortunately the MRI is not gonna happen until after Wine and Dine. So, sorry, Sadie bumped me. It'll be nice and irritated, I'm sure, after 17 miles and then completing a challenge. So we'll see. So obviously I'm wearing a black and white striped shirt that kind of makes me look like a mime. I hadn't yet tested my half marathon Wine and Dine outfit to see how it felt and everything. So everything was good. I think it'll be fine for the half marathon next week. And I do have accessories that make me not look like a mime, more like the Parisian girl, so that's exciting. And I'm so excited. I told somebody, I said, this training up to this point has been rough with these injuries. So I keep telling myself, a week from today, I will be on my way to Florida for a little bit of Disney magic and to, lift my spirits just a tad. So, but yeah, that is what we've got going on right now. I'm gonna go recover a little bit and take it easy the rest of the day because tomorrow morning it is 17 miles. Oh, and by the way, obviously today's Thursday. I shortened my week by a day so that I'd be able to at least do most of my, or at least half of my 17 miles with my run buddy Emily. It was just better with company, so she was able to work that out so she could run with me. So, but it had to be on Friday, so that's what we're doing. All right, see you in the morning. 17 miles, or at least as far as I can get outside before I have to call it and come home. I'm sure I'll have to, just like last week, but I'm telling myself, giving myself some grace. I'm dealing with injury. It's okay. It's just time on my feet at this point to get me through the rest of this training. All right, see you in the morning. Silly girl. You think I can do 17? What do you think? You're so sweet. Happy Friday. It's kind of dark, but sun is rising as you saw. It is 7:23, 39 degrees, and I'm really hoping I dressed warm enough. So I'm out here at, one of my favorite places to run and waiting for Miss Emily, who's going to join me for the first little bit. Same deal as last time. Going to go as far as I can until the pain gets to about a 5, and then I'll stop and go home and finish the rest of it on the treadmill. But I'm also going to try, maybe before I resort to going home on the treadmill, because here out at the dam, our dam is completely flat, and it's a half mile long, so I might try, if it gets to that point where I need to not be on a hill anymore, maybe try to do some on the dam, because it is flat, and I would much rather stay outside, of course. So I just keep telling myself this time next week, this time next week, the 5K will be over and we'll be heading back to the resort, but you get what I'm saying. We'll be at Disney next week. So, all right, waiting for Emily. All right, we're a little over a mile in, so not much has happened yet, except we shed a layer. But what I decided I would do during this run is every 4 miles or so, to give me something to look forward to every 4 miles, I'm gonna talk about my plans for Wine and Dine next week. All right, so I'll see you about 4 miles. Okay, we're on a bit of an incline, but we hit 4 miles. So, Emily has graciously joined me for the first little bit of 17.
Gotta go to work though.
Yeah, but I appreciate that. All right, so Thursday, Expo Day, is the day I'll be driving down to Florida with my husband, but I'm hoping we'll leave early enough that I'll be able to make it to the Dare to Dopey meetup, which I think is at 4 o'clock. There at the somewhere, Wide World of Sports. And let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it for that day. My sister, brother-in-law are running the 5K, so I will be joining them and going to bed early because
What do you eat that night, Amy?
We're probably just gonna get something from the Pop Century cafeteria. I don't have to, since I'm not running the 5K, I can splurge a little bit on food that day, but not too much. So yeah, all right, we're gonna start running again. Okay, it's cold out here, so this might be the last chance I have to use my Osmo Pocket. So 8 miles in, day 2, which is 5K day of Wine and Dine. I'm not running, but I will be out there cheering. Got a very special Muppet sweatshirt, so excited. Yeah, so cheer for 5K, and then probably go back to the expo, because I don't know if I'll really have time to really do the expo my arrival day. So I'll probably spend a little bit of time at the expo and hit the, head to bed early for a 10K. All right, so like I said, my camera died shortly after I filmed that last clip, but hey, 17 is done, and I was able to do it all here, all at once. So excited about that. I did slow down, and I also did what I said I was gonna do, is when I started to kind of feel my knee, it was about close to 11 miles, which is actually farther than I've gotten without any real pain. So that's a win too. But I headed over, I worked my way over to where the dam is, where it's flat, went back and forth on the dam for a few miles. And when I got to where my watch said I had 2 miles left is when I headed back towards the direction of my car. And then mile 14 and mile 16, I did balloon lady intervals, just to give my body a break. And I was like, I'm almost done, we can start like a cool down situation. But I would do balloon lady intervals for those miles, and then in the in-betweens and towards the end, I tried to keep my long run intervals as best I could, but walked when I needed to, but only for 30 seconds. So yeah, it's fantastic. And I mean, we got some gorgeous colors. Our colors have really popped in the past couple of days, so that's been fantastic. But I'm so happy to have it done. It's over. I can have my pizza tonight, and I get to focus on Wine and Dine. So where I left off, I guess, was I talked about 5K day. So 10K day, I'm running. So we're gonna be waking up wearing a cute Tiana shirt that I got made. Looking forward to running 10K. Both of these courses will be new to me. So, and then after 10K, I think I'm hanging out with my sister. She's doing something with American Cancer Society, who she works for, and she also is fundraising for them for a few of her races. So she asked if I wanted to hang out with those people, and I was like, sure. So that'll be fun. I thought about going to see a movie at Disney Springs, but I think I might go to Disney Springs just because, but I probably will not go see the movie. I was thinking back, because I think I just want to be able to definitely just give my body all the rest it probably needs and not tax it too much, because not that watching a movie is super taxing, but I want to make sure I get to bed at a good hour, get plenty of sleep, because this is supposed to be a rest weekend, and it's not going to be as far as distance, but I will be taking it super easy. And then Sunday is half marathon day. I'm trying to do like a Parisian girl thing. and not come off looking like a mime. But looking forward to that half marathon. I tell you what, after 17, 13 didn't really feel like a whole lot. But looking forward to that, and then we'll probably take a good long nap because we are going to the after party, and my sister and brother-in-law have said the key to being able to stay up for a majority of the party is to make sure that you take a good nap. So we're gonna do that. I was hoping to get a reservation at Garden Grill for dinner, but everybody, you know, had the same idea as me, I guess, because it sold out real fast for that Sunday. But I'm hoping I'll be able to get some character pictures, not, you know, all sweaty and gross, with my medals and all that during the after party. And I'll be getting my Coast to Coast medal, so I'm bringing my Dumbo Double Dare, and I'm gonna get some pictures, probably in front of Spaceship Earth, because I love that, especially when it's lit up. Maybe hopefully get some pictures there for Coast to Coast, and then of course just the Wine and Dine weekend in general, and enjoy. I've never been to Wine and Dine as a festival, I'm pretty sure, so I'm looking forward to experiencing the booths, and it's just, I'm so excited to be experiencing Wine and Dine for the first time. And yeah, so we'll be at the after party. I'm looking forward to riding Guardians of the Galaxy several times because I've only been on it once, but I absolutely loved it, and I've been told that at least during the after party that the wait times obviously are significantly lower. And I love that Spaceship Earth is also going to be open. I think because I don't think that one's normally open, but because Test Track won't be open, I think they added that one in. And so just super excited. So yeah, I am starting to cool down and get a little bit cold. So we're gonna head back to my car, head home, and start, you know, recovery, because recovery is important. And I will be back to close out week 17 with the chapter from Run the Mile You're In. So happy it's done and that it went fairly well. Oh, and I didn't say, but my overall pace, even with all that walking, was still under my goal marathon pace. So I think even though I'm a little worried about the injury thing, I think I might still be able to pull off my goal. But I'm, you know, also telling myself it is okay if you don't. A marathon is still a huge feat in and of itself, even if I don't make that sub 5 goal. A marathon's a marathon. So, all right, see you at home. I don't know if you can fully appreciate what's happening, but there's got to be hundreds of ladybugs flying around right now. But I am out here with my 2 pups. Sadie thinks she's a lap dog, but we're just relaxing, taking a break after 17. But this ladybug thing, it's ridiculous. But look how pretty the colors are. It's actually even prettier in person, but there's not any good red. Well, I guess there's a little bit of red over there. The red is my favorite. Okay, so we are more than 24 hours out from that 17-mile run, and Sadie thinks that these pool chairs can fit both of us, so she's joining me. Everything feels okay. I'm sore. I fully expected to be sore. I could tell that my hamstrings need a little bit of strengthening work because they were starting to feel super tight like 4 miles in yesterday. So, but we're just taking it easy today. A couple of hours ago, I was like, you know, I'm really tired. I'm going to take a nap. I took like an hour-long nap, which felt amazing. So, but everything feels good. Foot doesn't bother me. Knee kind of bothered me this morning, but it's not really hurting now, which is great. So, I finished up reading my chapter for Run the Mile You're In for this week, which is called Worship. So he's talking about his experience at the 2012 Olympic Marathon Trials, and which were in Houston. And he said that he felt really good leading up to that trials race. He had had a couple of other races prior to that, and they went amazingly well. But then about a month before the race, he got plantar fasciitis, so he was dealing with that. And plantar fasciitis is very annoying. If you've ever had it, you know. It's very annoying to deal with. He got very, very frustrated. But at a point, he's like, you know what, being frustrated is not helping with, you know, dealing with this. So what he says in here is, after I let go of the frustration, which in some ways was worse than the pain, and just accepted my situation, I felt lighter and was able to better work through the pain. So he goes back to a point that he made a couple chapters ago about how God doesn't love us based on any sort of performance. What he says is, relearning that God didn't love me any more or any less based on how I perform in life or out on the roads was freeing. When you really experience the love of God, you can't help but go through life feeling light and free. And he also shares this thought that he had was, my usual questioning of my fitness gave way to the greater reality that I already had the greatest prize I could attain, and my value was not dependent on how well I performed at the trials. And this gratitude gets expressed as worship through the act of running. He goes on to talk about how relaxed and how just at peace he was feeling the day of the race, and during warm-up time and all of that. And he even talks about that he was so relaxed and was just so chill about the whole situation that he almost missed the start of the race. Like, he had gone off to just do like a warm-up thing, and when he came back to the starting area, he realized that like the staging area before the line had all the women in it, and the men had already gone and were like on the start line getting ready to start. So he says, I say all this to emphasize how being connected to God brings freedom, relaxation, and joy, allowing one to perform at new levels. Just make sure you don't miss the start of your race. So he started the race and went straight for the front. I guess Houston is a fairly flat course, and he wanted to really push the pace and make it a fast race, because he felt like he was prepared to do that. And he really was physically, but past maybe about the halfway mark is what he's saying. Frustration started to enter in again. He realized that he was the only one doing all the work. If you watch professional marathons, you'll notice that sometimes the lead will bounce back and forth between like the top 3 or 4 people. They'll take turns taking that front position, and no one was taking turns with him, and he was getting frustrated that he was cutting the wind for everybody else behind him, and that was starting to affect how he was feeling and how he was racing. And it was a very small thing, but he says sometimes it's the small things that disrupt our spirits, because often our guard isn't up with the small things. And so he realized that he was starting to get into his head about it, and was starting to lose that relaxed focus that he had prior to the race starting. And so he tried to bring the focus back to running with a sense of peace and a sense of why he was doing it, who he was doing it for. And what he says is, what I learned that day is how important it is for me to guard my connection with God. The Bible says that the devil is always on the prowl looking for someone to devour, which is from 1 Peter 5:8. While I don't like being overly focused on the devil, I have learned to be aware that we have an adversary who is the father of lies, and that's John 8:44. So he ties this all up, this chapter being called worship, is what does it really mean to worship God through running? And he says, worshiping God through anything is simple, really. It's just doing whatever you are doing with a heart posture that is for him. And I really like that idea, because I don't always succeed, but I try to make my daily activities, whether it's working out, whether it's running, whether it's even going to the grocery store, having that heart posture. I always tell the kids, the cross-country kids, I'm like, when you go like to a fast food restaurant or a sit-down restaurant or go to the grocery store, you never know the person who is serving you or taking care of you or checking you out, what kind of day they're having or what kind of life they're living, because they could be going through something. And sometimes just a simple, hey, how's it going today? Thank you for helping me out, can go such a long way in lifting that person's spirit and attitude. And that is a form of worship. It's doing something that honors God. And like he says, it's simple, but sometimes it can feel complicated to carry out, knowing how to do that in everyday activities. But I'm still learning and still trying. But that's this week. So I hope everyone's doing well. I'm super excited for next week. Wine and Dine is going to be amazing. What I think I'm going to do vlog-wise is I think next week's training vlog will be traveling down to Florida and maybe a little bit of the expo. Won't be like a full expo review really, because there's people that do that way better than I do. Go check them out. And then I will totally do race recaps along with any future training vlogs past next week. I love doing race recaps because it gives me an opportunity to go back and just re-experience that whole race and the course and the characters and anyone I see. So excited. Speaking of people I see, I did make friendship bracelets. I think I have like 10 or 11 of them. So come get you a friendship bracelet if you see me around. I'm new to the friendship bracelet thing, so I don't know how all that works, but I've got them. I want to give them out, and I'm really, really excited. I can't even tell you hopefully you can tell how excited I am. It's going to be a great time. So be sure to give this video a like. Leave me a comment. Will I see you at Wine and Dine next week? Are you running all the races or just the challenge, just the half? Let me know what you're doing next week for Wine and Dine. And be sure to subscribe. Obviously got some fun things coming up with anything related to Wine and Dine. Always remember that you are God's masterpiece, and I'll see you at Wine and Dine next week.